like we like for sure this shouldn't have existed. And then they're like, and then they get to this part, like the Shadow Dragons. This was amazing. Blah 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 blah. This and that. Something about the characters. Primarily it has to do with the analysis had more to do with the dragons themselves, specifically Omega Shenron, and the things that he said and did in context of the different translations.
Yeah.
The English dub made him more overtly, yes, I am evil, wahaha. Whereas the sub was he was more neutral and just enacting something as like punishment.
You want to know some fun fact about the Shadow Dragons?
What about it?
The dub is the only reason why they have names.
Yeah, because they're all Shenron.
No, they in the actual Japanese names for the dragons, they're just called by the number. Nova.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nova Shenron, Omega Shenron, all that is English dub stuff. They don't have
right.
those.
Yeah, but just in general,
yeah.
Like their characterization and their motives differ between the translations. Well, that was one of the big takeaways from the analysis I watched. I don't remember what user posted that video though, unfortunately, but it was uploaded like within the last few months, I think. I want to say I watched it in December. But basically it was like why Dragon Ball GT is not as bad as everyone thinks or whatever, and then he goes on to talk about all the bad points of it first. Before actually getting to the parts that he wants to talk about.
I'm in probably in the same camp as Totally Not Mark, because I watched his review of GT, and when he was getting to the part of the Shadow Dragon arc, and he got to the last episode, he goes, all these guys are evil for the sake of being evil, which kind of takes me out of there. But that last episode, you could place that last epised at the end of any Dragon Ball, at the end of any Dragon Ball thing, and it would fit right in.
Yeah, and that's why the ending is so beautiful. It's a nice goodbye to the series, just to cap it off. Not necessarily about Goku's being a deadbeat. Like, not it's something else that happened prior to him saying goodbye, specifically about his relationship with Shenron and the dragon and everything else going on. But then they decided, okay, well that's like in the quote unquote distant future, a little bit later than like much later than the actual events of Z, blah blah blah. A little bit later than the events of GT. So Super can technically still fit into the timeline alongside all of that and blah blah. It's like, no, just it that was when it ended. I don't need more. Like, thank you for your time.
I can understand you. That's how I feel about Naruto.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't.
Naruto ended once he actually became Hokage.
Yeah. I think the most I can squeeze through with my leeway with that is Naruto the Last, and I think that for me is like the closing point.
Yeah, exactly. Like it ends when he hooks up with Hinata, and then he actually achieves his dream of becoming the Hokage, like he always wanted.
Yep. This Boruto stuff is just ridiculous, in my opinion.
There's too much weird shit going on in that for me to care. Especially the fact that like the best moments in Boruto, at least from what I know about, all stem from the moments that happen to be Naruto and Sasuke doing the cool shit. But then like they keep on getting treated poorly because they're not the main characters anymore. And it's like, please don't. Like what the fuck?
Did they get nerfed? Is that what I'm getting at?
Pretty much. That's what people are saying. So I think early last year, Naruto actually lost to Kurama. Sasuke got his Rinnegan eye stabbed out.
Wait. Well, before you get on that, we got a first-time chat person saying, coming here. There's someone saying, "I'm lost." Which is why we're playing Hat in Time, and we're having a Boruto conversation.
Chat. We are not talking about the video game. We're just a couple of dudes that like to talk nonsense about other random shit because the game is because whatever game Mark is playing is never good enough for us to just talk about on its own merits, or none of us actually know anything about it.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, none of us know anything about it except somebody who's also in the chat, like you, dear viewer.
Explodes. Explodes is probably the only one silent that knows what's going on.
Exactly, that's who I'm referencing.
But yeah, go
By
on.
the
Go
way,
on. I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was funny.
Okay, you know how they added that scene for Goku, the Dragon Fist one?
Wait, what?
In which one?
The Dragon Fist, the Super Saiyan 4.
Oh, what about it?
Instead of doing where he kills Ice around, they could have done the where he does the Hammer and then changes it to a Dragon Fist.
I mean, does it matter how I finished Ice?
Ice was just a coward at the end of the day.
No, I know, but they could have done it left to the one where he kills Omega. The one like he finishes Omega Star off, but he comes back anyways.
Here's
When he does
something.
the Hammer, but then he turns into a Dragon Fist.
Here's something that I could remember from the Totally Not Mark thing on the review of it. I remember how stupid that Super 17 versus Goku fight was.
Yeah, that was bad.
Because that was Goku at his most brain dead fighting.
The only thing I liked about Super 17 was the part where he nukes everybody and they're all still standing and he just, compliments them two-faced like, and then Vegeta quipped back with one of his best one-liners that also failed to do anything. It's like he's got two stellar comeback lines,
Vegeta.
and they don't do shit.
Vegeta, are you Goku?
Like,
you don't matter then.
and funnily enough, it's both of his amazing one-liners are against androids.
And in both occasions, he gets himself
and then we
polybombed.
I admire your ability to die, and then fails to kill the enemy.
Because
fucking love that.
I look back at the fight and I was thinking to myself, the best thing about the Super 17 arc was that relationship between him and 18 that didn't really get closure.
Yeah, no, that was dumb.
Like the idea was great. Like, he didn't move on, but 18 did. And I honestly don't know because they have a separate. They consider the other 17 a separate entity, right? That version of that fused. They call that one.
Yeah, that was
Hellbreaker 17.
the entire premise of Super 17 and that there was two of them was just dumb filler nonsense. I don't know why they came up with that specifically.
Yeah, so unfortunately I think 17 got like the worst of it. The Shadow Dragons in itself is inherently pretty bad, but I think Super 17 is kind of like the weakest one. It did make sense.
Yeah.
But there's that.
Like the best aspects of GT was probably they tried to put it back into that adventure mood that Dragon Ball was known for before. And then everything that had to do with the tuffles and whatnot, but like that was probably the best narrative beats that GT had just on its own, because it still ties into like everything else that came before, and then like the concept of the Shadow Dragons itself.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. One thing that GT did great for the franchise was the very marketable forms. Because anytime people think about Dragon Ball GT, and even that goes even for game devs and the future
Super Saiyan 4.
Super Saiyan 4. It's that's all people remember for it.
I honestly that should have been the natural progression. I don't know why the heck we decided to go straight to God Key and whatever else and stuff.
There's still that opportunity that Broly might achieve that. They
Yeah,
did
but it's like, come on, wouldn't we have just stuck with something a little bit more normal?
But man, it costs less money to repaint over Super Saiyan Goku.
That's also the other dumb thing about it. It's just we're gonna change his hair color. Cool. Why?
And make the aura slightly fancier.
Which video was it that I watched? Was it this one? I hope it's not that one.
Baby also had interesting take on the Tuffles mythos. Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, everything that had to do with double that includes Baby. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Hmm.
I'm making my way around town. Around town. But yeah, what was it? The whole thing with GT, yeah, nowadays, like the phone game I play, and people get hyped for Super Saiyan 4, even though everyone unanimously does not like that show. But the forms itself, it looks so darn cool.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's one of my favorite forms in the series. I don't get why the fur is like pink, but I mean, aside from that, like it is probably one of my on Goku. It's one of my favorite forms. Vegeta, not so much. I kind of don't like the look that he has in it.
What about Gogeta?
Yeah, Gogeta's fine. Yeah.
You know, they actually recently, at the time of this recording here, Dragon Ball Heroes, they had an episode, I believe it's called Ultra God Mission 6, and they legit almost play for play did the Omega Shenron fight against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta thing again, but they did one thing that GT couldn't do, was actually have closure to that fight the way you wanted it to happen. So for extra context, the Omega Shenron, like this version of Omega Shenron is like this black and red, edgy looking Shenron guy, and then all of a sudden Zeno, Goku, and Vegeta, they fuse together, right? And they become, I forgot, Limit Breaker, Super Saiyan 4, Gogeta. I was gonna say Goku. Gogeta. And I've already been here, haven't I? Yeah, I've been here already. So they do the exact same fight, even with the elbow to the face thing, but this time they actually kill Omega Shenron with a Big Bang Kamehameha. So it's like, wow, we get to finally see
Instead
what
of
would
the
happen.
Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, well, you know, Spirit Bomb was just Goku at that point, not Gogeta, because Gogeta was supposed to finish off Omega Shenron, but they were messing around too long. And
Well, no, it's the fusion thing. It depends on how much power output is actually being put through it, and like it keeping in line with events that happened back in Z. Super Saiyan transformations can eat up your time, right?
Yeah.
Like what happened with Goku when he was visiting. They transformed Super Saiyan 3, so he ran out of time on Earth, even though he was supposed to have like a full, I think it was like 24 hours, I think, or something.
Yeah,
And then,
it just ate up his time.
Yeah, so it's a similar concept to that, with the Kai's, magic and rule set. It's not necessarily that they were messing around too long, but like they use too much power, while fighting, and yeah.
They did the confetti Kamehameha. That's messing around, in my opinion.
Okay, well, I don't remember too much of the entirety of what happened. I haven't watched it in years, but just gonna link this here. I decided to check, see which video it was that I watched before. Leave that for you for later.
Okay. According to Explodes, even Toriyama likes it and drew fan art of
Yes.
for the greater
Super Saiyan 4, yeah.
Yeah.
He really liked it.
I have a theory that I wanna bring up.
What's up?
Okay, you guys know Devilman's technique. What was it called again?
Oh, I forgot.
Oh, yeah, I forget the name of it, but I think I know which one you're talking about.
Okay, you know how it destroys people instantly if they have a little bit of evil in them?
Yeah.
And they're saying like when Goku turns Super Saiyan, he's not that real part. He has a little bit of evil in him.
Well, the rage
And
thing.
Devilman.
No, that's not
No.
evil. That's literally just his rage awakened.
Rage doesn't necessarily mean it's you lose your purity.
It's
No.
to be specific, he was only able to achieve the form because he was pure of heart to begin with.
In Vegeta's
And then
case,
they-
he kind of cheated.
And then they distorted that by making everybody a Super Saiyan, so it was no longer a thing about pure of heart. But then, like, even then, people were questioning it with Vegeta, and it was like, oh, but I am pure of heart. I'm pure evil. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, you're edgy, whatever. So, but that's like, okay, so purity, regardless of which side of the spectrum it just needs to be, maxed out morality on either side, basically, right?
Maxed out stats in
Yeah.
one department.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I heard that when in Super Saiyan form, like I'm not talking about Namek Goku, like Circuit Big Goku. Apparently, if they turn Super Saiyan, there's a little bit of evil in it.
Wait, what day, Goku?
Circuit Day Goku.
He's saying that if Goku transforms in Super Saiyan, he would be weak against the Devil Might's beam. Is what he's trying to get at.
Why?
That's his case. That's the case. he's making.
Apparently, in the Super Android 13 movie, you can hear, but it's only English dub. You can hear Krillin saying that. Goku can use his
Okay,
Spirit Bomb.
you already made a problem there by saying it's only in the English dub. You kind of go.
Yeah,
off,
The dub is famously inaccurate with specific topics like that.
Because-
If you're gonna cite anything about the show, like as a to theorize on, it needs to be from the original translations.
because
All right.
it's fair enough. It's fair enough to be okay.
English or sub. I forgot which one.
But it's fair enough to be like, oh, Destructo Disc, Kienzan, or Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, like
that's naming.
change the names of some attacks. Yeah, but if you're gonna be like, oh no, but this character is clearly this way because the dub said so. Like, no,
Yeah,
that's like similarly to like, oh, Goku was over 9,000 power level when he faced off against Vegeta the first time. No, it was 8,000.
Yeah.
Hey, but then we wouldn't have the meme.
Yeah.
We wouldn't
Yeah.
have the meme.
Yeah, I know, but just like I'm pointing out, like that's basically what you're saying. Oh, it's like you're trying to. I know you're saying you're theorizing, but your theory is based off of a fallacy already. So I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know
I
if it's in
gotta
the,
agree
I don't know
with
if it's
Rachel.
in the dub or sub. When Goku was doing the Spirit Bomb, the guy Gamma, I don't know how you say it.
Genki Dama.
Yeah, and apparently Goku is supposed to be a little bit has to be pure to use the Spirit Bomb. But he can't use it while in the Super Saiyan, yet he was able to do it in the movie. And he has.
Oh no,
Uh,
movies are not canon. Movies are not canon, so that's why you.
No.
Also, the thing about that is his Super Saiyan transformation is hard to maintain, and the Spirit Bomb is something that's hard to maintain. Specifically, the Kais have gone to mention that Super Saiyan form and transformation wastes a lot of energy just to activate and keep and maintain. Right? That was the whole point of one of the things that they did with Gohan. When the old Kai unleashed his power, he specifically said that the thing he did to Gohan was he unlocked his potential so that he doesn't have to waste any power transforming. He just has full access to it from the get-go in his base state.
It is also a nice detail. Going back to a little bit to my phone game with the summons, the summon animation when you're having Goku fight Frieza. There are chances where when they have you like the guaranteed animation, one of them is Goku using Spirit Bomb, right? And there's a nice detail about that if you start with Goku as a Super Saiyan, and that animation plays through with the Spirit Bomb, he does power down to do it, which is a nice touch. I like how they remember that little detail, because they did that even with against Jiren, where when Goku was going to throw that Spirit Bomb, he powered down all the way so he could use that move.
Well, I think it does have a little bit of evil when it's just through those forms.
Well, you're free to think that.
What, with the Goku being in base form?
Yeah, he's not well. Like you said, he transforms back to base form into the Spirit Bomb. So I'm guessing the form he's using has a little bit of evil in it.
I always viewed forming the Spirit Bomb needed to be in base form, but throwing it you didn't need to, because that was the whole thing with the Bye Guys thing with Goku, which was he was able to push back the Spirit Bomb as a Super Saiyan because he already formed it. That's just my take on it. Until they retcon it like they did with Vegito. Well, I wouldn't say retcon, more like they were creative with changing the rules that people for the longest time thought was the right
Complained
thing.
about?
Was what, Vegito separating and Boo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
that made no sense.
Because I remember people were all like, oh, inside Boo was like this magic barrier that separated them. And that was
and then it's like, no, it's just that the Kais just didn't tell the whole truth. It's only permanent for Kais. Like, acceptable, sure, whatever.
I just want to say, like, for example, just saying the fusions, the Gogeta from Prison Reborn, were he able to use his Spirit Bomb?
Yeah,
No,
that's the thing that Reggie and I have agreed with for years, is that anything that the two guys can do, the fusion can. They just didn't need to do it because they're just that strong.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna say, will Gogeta, dead Gogeta, be able to do Spirit Bomb? Well, because Vegeta was in hell.
Debatable. But also, like, the Spirit Bomb was unnecessary. Plus, they were dealing with something that wasn't. Well, actually, I guess technically, Janemba does classify as evil because it was like evil energy that like formed it after mutating a desert, like one of the otherworld workers or something. But I don't know.
It's a movie. You don't have to think too hard about it.
The non-canon movies are, it's extremely debatable.
Yeah, because Vegeta was dead in that one when he shouldn't have been.
And he was in hell.
Yeah, so it's like, well...
Well, because the timeline of that is to imply that it's taking place during the events of the Boo saga after he, blew himself up. But, like, at a point in time when Boo's not there. Those movies you have to take with a grain of salt. They take place in either another universe, so they don't line up specifically with the anime show and the manga, or it's just taking inspirational nods from the source materials for the presentation of whatever they're doing. Similarly to how the second Broly movie, Gohan looks similar to the way he does as a Super Saiyan 2, but that's only because they used the panel of when he was Super Saiyan 2 for that shot that they drew of him going Super Saiyan. So
majority of the movies that were made during that time period, like early Dragon Ball Z, were there just to kind of be filler to keep people excited.
All of Dragon Ball Z.
Huh?
All of Dragon Ball Z.
Well, yeah, but you know
none of them were
franchise, I guess. Early Dragon Ball was like promotional stuff, just to keep people hyped for the show, to keep making more content. Unfortunately, what they did is they created original characters that people just loved a lot. Like, look at Broly.
Yeah, Broly, Cooler. Turles, for some reason, has his fans.
Turles, they made him canon. They made
the original Goku Black.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They made Turles canon. He's Goku Black now.
Yeah. And then that BoJack didn't end up more popular. I actually thought he was pretty cool, and like his whole entourage was interesting. Could have been interesting. Like a villain that was formerly faced and like sealed away by the Kais escaped because of something Goku did. Like that. Like, not only does BoJack Unbound actually fit perfectly within the timeline itself of the original events, it could have actually been really interesting and worked better as its own arc instead of what they what they ended up doing with Garlic Jr. Oh, that's another one that people like, Garlic Jr. Yeah.
I assure you, that's ironically though.
I thought he was pretty cool. he was dumb for pulling out the one move that can actually, do away with him after he got his wish. But hey, he actually got the Dragon Balls and then wished for something actually smart for a villain.
I will agree with you. Like BoJack, the movie BoJack was. Oh, by the way, before I say my thing, explodes. So like, not technically canon either, but Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Devilman had a quirk that affected the opponent based on how evil they were. It didn't affect Goku unless he was Super Saiyan. Oh yeah, but that's a video game. But I mean, I think we're aware of that. Okay, so my thing to bring up was that I believe some movies could be canon, not if you force it to, but
yeah, no, because most of them have some inconsistency to them.
If I were to look at it from my point of view here, and just bear in mind, I could be wrong, but I've stuck with these for years because it made sense to me. Broly, the first Broly movie, feels like it does make sense. The first one. Because
it could make sense.
Because technically, Cell, this is like during the
there's the 10-day gap between the Cell games,
And even if you
so
say
it has an excuse.
Yeah, it has the excuse of there's lull time. Maybe Cell was like, oh, they're leaving the planet. I guess they're gonna go train, whatever, that type of thing. It's weird. It's weird that they don't, bring up Cell and be like, we should probably be back before Cell does the Cell games, right? Like, yeah, you can kind of look at that and be like, that's weird, but it's Dragon Ball. So I believe the first Broly movie is canon. The first Cooler movie, I believe is canon. Because again,
could have been
that technically could be during the time when the training arc for everyone preparing for the androids.
Yeah, it could. Although I believe based on actual events, it's more specifically. This is Goku like right after he right after he defeated Frieza, and I believe it was like he did go back home rather than staying off world for a year. Because he also doesn't demonstrate instant transmission in that movie, if I recall correctly.
Did he really need it in order to win?
No, not necessarily, but like he usually uses all of his techniques in most of these non-canon fights that happen just to have some cool stuff happen.
For one of the 4 win thingies to show up and feel a thing to stand on.
Okay, I'm gonna try trekking all the way up because I'm like, oh man, I've been here a little bit too long.
And how many times have we been talking about theories and off topics about Dragon Ball Z instead of this?
Just to suffer.
Well, my main thing with the we were talking about canon, what movies are canon. Those are like the only ones I can think about.
I posted a video for you going on that exact topic on why they're possible, but they ultimately are not.
Oh, okay, over here then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that! You've discovered something new.
Yeah, I thought that this was not.
Oi.
Because you kept going to the right instead of left.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You turned your head.
But yeah, so the thing is the Tapion movie also technically considered canon?
No, it is not.
Okay, why is that?
Because of the sword paradox.
Oh,
yeah. The sword is it's a cool little nod to be like, oh yeah, so this is how Trunks got the sword. But keep in mind that future Trunks, the one that we view, he came from a time where everybody that he knew and loved was dead, and so clearly there couldn't have been any way that he would have met and befriended Tapion to get the sword from him. I believe that was one of the points that the video goes over, but I can't be certain because that video was kind of old. I haven't seen it in a long time, but definitely check out the video like after this whole thing. It goes over, it touches on all the points that we've already discussed.
Okay.
But apparently Xenoverse 2, they made Super Trunks remember Tapion.
What?
Wait, what?
Xenoverse 2, the DLC. And it's not topic.
The DLC is what?
They just wanted to-
Xenoverse. That Xenoverse is its own,
I know, I'm the same.
can of worms. Xenoverse is specifically about the whole entire multiverse. The trunks that we follow in that, the
It's not
Time
the
Patrol
same
trunks
way
is a
that the
random
Heroes
trunk.
is. It's got the same building blocks as Heroes, yet it's different.
yeah.
Xenoverse might as well be American Dragon Ball Heroes.
Except
you
it was
mean Japanese one because it's better.
Okay, so we're gonna be doing this now.
Oh my goodness. Oh shoot.
You can double jump.
I know I can, but like,
you're
Double
gonna
jump
jump
with
and then
the-
you're gonna use your double jump
All the
underneath
time.
the fence.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Oh great, everything reset. What if I made a mistake?
Then you'll be able to get back. Because if it didn't
Oh.
reset and you made a mistake, then you'd be shit out of luck.
S-O-L.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Right? Can I have
But
that one?
yeah.
Let's see. Oh wait, I can go.
And did we want to keep debating the canonicity of the Dragon Ball movies,
Oh, yeah,
even
yeah,
though
yeah.
we all know that none of
Yeah.
them actually fit into the timeline?
Well, we did agree if some did.
No, they have
characters.
potential to fit, but ultimately they don't.
Oh, okay.
All because of one flaw.
Yeah. Each one has some kind of inconsistency that just makes it not fit in with the actual events of the main timeline.
That's probably why they're trying to make all those characters like versions of it for Super. They're like, oh yeah, we want to make these characters canon now because people love the designs.
Yeah. Basically, that's what's going on. Yeah.
Or at the very least, using building blocks of them to make another villain. Like the giant robot thing that nobody seems to remember anymore.
Which one? Are you talking about Hachiak or something else?
No, in Super, during the Tournament of Power,
Oh.
The Dr. Wheelo thing?
everyone that was left fused, and it was basically...
Anazu, something with the A.
Are we talking about that Dr. Wheelo thing?
It
I
is
think
based
he
off
does
of
look
that.
like a little bit, but he also has references to other villains.
Like,
I can't remember at the top of my head anymore.
well, I've never watched it, so I wouldn't be able to help you.
Slug.
You know, Reggie, one day we just gotta sit down and watch the Tournament of Power arc together, and then we could just. We could
I'm
pretty much
not
just-
doing that.
No, you don't want to fall asleep.
I mean, I'm down to watch Tournament of Power again.
Like, I'll watch the Frieza bits, sure, but those are
He
clips.
was also... I forgot. Lost my train of thought.
Well, anyway, this all stemmed with me talking about Naruto a bit, like the canonicity of things. But yeah, Boruto was a thing that I just didn't like, and I know I say this a lot.
Same.
But it's
Boruto had a very poor start.
Here's the thing. I'm afraid that once
Is
One
that
Piece
a leash?
finishes, the One Piece fans are going to end up getting hit with the Boruto effect.
Oh god, no. It's
Trust
already
me.
long enough as it is. We don't need a sequel.
Yeah, but see, I'm pretty sure they can be like, it's going to print money. The kid of Luffy and whatever love interest he probably is in.
I believe he's with Nico Robin, isn't he?
Oh, of course.
That
it would
doesn't
be.
make sense.
I believe that was the one that had like somewhat of a romantic connection.
Does he actually love her, or is it just one of those?
I've never watched,
Oh, okay.
but I read somewhere that apparently they might be a thing already.
That must
for-
be just
at this
fan
point.
speculation that's making
Yeah, like fan
they
speculation
want
and
to ship it all.
theorizing, or like there was some sort of implication made in the show, like somewhere in canon that fans latched onto.
Okay.
They do that a lot with these kinds of things.
I mean-
it's too stupid.
Also, it's a shonen, so it's a battle shonen, so they don't really focus on anything like romance. It's all about
That's
the
just
adventure and individual character moments
Oh.
and friendship.
Okay.
Uh,
Unless something is involved.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I also heard a little bit of this. I'm not sure how true it is, but I remember that for most anime, they try not to have characters committed to a relationship because they want the fans to kind of fester
Yeah.
with the idea of it.
Unless it's specifically a romance story, yeah, basically.
Okay, yeah.
People also just don't want them to end up like Goku.
No.
That too.
No.
But like for instance, like back on the topic of Naruto, like romance wasn't really a thing that the writer was interested in doing specifically outright. He did always want to have the characters end up in a romantic relationship eventually.
Mhm.
Hence the initial building blocks of Naruto and Hinata.
Mhm.
You know.
to get into do some romance. It did kind of end up bad with the whole Sakura thing.
So if it wasn't left to supplemental material, I think it could have. It would be more widely accepted.
Oh yeah, because all we got was I love him even though he tried to kill me.
Yeah, but and then supplemental materials that go into detail on the events before they actually become a thing.
Like,
Sasuke
loves me? I didn't know that.
So like Sasuke actually does volunteer to be put be put in jail for everything that he did up to that point as repentance, and then he's recruited by Kakashi to be like his shadow operative in the field, right?
Mhm.
So he does that, and he works tirelessly for the village, on like as repentance, and it's also why he kept one arm instead of getting a replacement. You know, to never forget the decisions he made that led to that, to losing a fucking arm, and all this other stuff. And then specifically, like his relationship with Sakura was, he mostly viewed her as, inconsequential, like it's kind of in the way, until she actually proved that there was something that she could want and do on her own power without just like, oh Sasuke, I love you. Like it's like once she actually did something of her own desire outside of fawning over him, did he take notice of her and her strength, and then they hooked up.
Look a moment. That part poking down the bottom and towards the roof was left there on purpose just to troll people. That's all. Go back to Naruto.
Yeah, so like I believe it was in the Sakura novel. Again, there's a bunch of supplementary material that came out after the manga ended or just before the manga ended.